2 minutes into a fight, your future is already tilting. Tiny repair attempts, soft words, a joke, a breath, can pull the wheel back before the cliff. A repair attempt is a brief bridge you place into the argument while you are still on the same riverbank. In the Gottman tradition, it means any small behavior that lowers the emotional temperature and redirects you and your partner toward cooperation. It can be a gentle request to try a sentence again, an ownership of tone, a specific appreciation, a humor cue that fits the moment, or a short pause that protects you both from saying something you will have to carry for years. Repairs are not grand speeches. They are micro skills. What matters is timing, tone, and recognizability. When these tiny moves land, you do not win the argument. You rescue the connection so the argument can actually go somewhere useful. Inside the body, conflict quickly recruits the survival system. Heart rate climbs, breath shallows, cortisol nudges attention toward threat detection, and the prefrontal cortex hands the mic to faster, harsher scripts. Attachment history colors the scene. If your template says closeness can vanish without warning, you may protest louder. If your template says closeness suffocates, you may pull away to breathe. Cognitive schemas start narrating. They never listen. I'm about to be trapped. Nothing I say matters. Repair attempts work because they interrupt this neurobiological slide. A softer startup lowers perceived threat, which calms heart rate, which makes it easier to hear nuance. When you deliberately name your internal state, flooded, tense, tender, you nudge the brain back toward regulation. Micro skills become the handrail on a staircase that otherwise spirals downward, restoring just enough executive function to choose a kind of turn. Daily life provides the perfect storm for escalation. The fight rarely begins with the big topic. It begins with a harsh startup after a long day and poor sleep. One partner opens with global language that the other hears as a character attack. Defensiveness arrives wearing logic's clothing. Old grievances sneak in under a door-marked context. Someone throws in kitchen sink history because it feels safer to argue about a pile than a single vulnerable need. The pursuer closes distance to make things better and accidentally chases. The distancer protects the system by stepping back and is accused of not caring. Voices rise, breathing shortens. Now everyone is speaking from inside a tunnel. Micro repairs, if you recognize them and accept them, are the exit signs that help you both step back into a room with windows. Red flags in conflict show up as tones and patterns, not only as words. When contempt slips in through superiority or eye-rolling, repairs bounce off like pebbles on glass. When mockery, name-calling, or humiliation enters the scene, the system is already in a danger zone. When stonewalling freezes the room for long stretches, repairs are needed first for the body and only then for the conversation. When defensiveness turns every reflection into a courtroom, even a skillful repair can sound like a trick. Green flags look less dramatic but matter more. A partner notices your breath and slows theirs to match. Someone says they are getting hot and asks to rewind a sentence. You both keep pronouns anchored in the relationship rather than in a scoreboard. One person risks a precise appreciation mid-argument, which signals that disagreement has not erased respect. A kind joke that points both of you at the problem rather than at each other lifts the ceiling enough to let air in. These small signals tell you there is still soil to work with. Picture a small kitchen on a Thursday night. A pan hisses, a phone buzzes, a promise about weekend plans comes up, and the conversation tilts. Mara hears a familiar script. He will prioritize work again. Jonas hears another script. If I agree to Friday, I will disappoint someone at the office. Their words speed up and widen. Mara says he never follows through. Jonas says she never sees his effort. Voices rise by a notch you could measure. Then a tiny repair appears, almost invisible. Jonas says he is getting tight and defensive and wants to try his sentence with less edge. He repeats the same content with a softer startup. Mara does not reward him immediately. That is normal. Half a minute later, she offers her own repair attempt. She says her protest is about wanting to feel important on his calendar, not about punishing him. The room does not become magical, but the slope lessens. They take a breath at the sink, and Mara places a hand on the counter rather than on her hip. By the time the pasta is done, the fight is smaller than the relationship. Micro skills work best when they repair the moment you created rather than the entire history. If your opening was harsh, name it and replace it. Saying you started strong and want to try again moves the argument out of the meta fight about tone and back to the topic at hand. The nervous system hears safety because you are signaling responsibility rather than attack. Another reliable move is translating positions into longings. A position sounds like a rule. A longing sounds like a hope. A position says that the other person must attend Friday. A longing says you want to feel chosen in front of competing obligations. Longings are easier to collaborate around because they invite creativity rather than compliance. A third anchor is a visible timeout ritual agreed in calm. Decide on words and a gesture outside of conflict. During the fight, invoke it early, not as punishment or escape, but as a shared safety drill. A brief pause with slow breathing and a drink of water returns you to a window where empathy is possible. Delivery multiplies impact. The same sentence can land as balm or as blade depending on pacing, volume, and facial tone. When you slow just a little and release your shoulders, your partner's body reads that you are not a threat. If humor is part of your bond, choose gentle absurdity rather than sarcasm. Jokes that place both of you on the same side of the table, facing the problem together, are pro-relationship. Jokes that place you above your partner are disguised contempt and will be felt as withdrawal of respect. Physical repair can help when words are brittle. If touch is welcome, a brief hand squeeze can precede a softer sentence. If touch overwhelms, ask permission first and lead with breath or posture. The repair menu should be personalized by what has worked between you on ordinary days. Some couples like playful resets with familiar phrases. Others prefer spare, minimalist language. The right repair is the one your partner recognizes as care. A common fear says that repairs mean giving up your point. The opposite is true. A good repair protects the point by protecting the platform you are standing on together. You can keep firm boundaries while softening the delivery. You can safeguard a value while acknowledging impact. Notice how power shifts when someone says they still disagree, and can also see how their tone landed. Now the disagreement can live in daylight. You are no longer debating character. You are negotiating a decision. The paradox is simple and liberating. The more you signal care during conflict, the bolder you can be about your truth without triggering the loop that makes both of you small. Repairs sometimes fail through no one's fault. Flooding can make even generous bids feel like noise. When your pulse races and your chest is tight, your brain is not ignoring your partner. It is triaging. This is where pre-commitment helps, deciding calm how you will spot flooding and how you will pause. Agree on an approximate time to resume and keep that promise. If pauses keep stretching into silence that lasts for days, you are probably facing avoidance rather than regulation, which needs a different kind of conversation about how to return to topics without dread. When repairs fail repeatedly, because contempt dominates, because fear is constant, or because there is coercion, the priority shifts to safety and outside support rather than to technique. On hard days, aim for the smallest possible success. You do not need to fix the content. Pair one micro skill with one breath. Say what state you are in using a short phrase. Ask for a do-over of a single sentence rather than of the entire exchange. If you sense your partner searching for a repair but missing it, help it land by reflecting what you think you heard and appreciating the effort, even if you still disagree on substance. Repairs are not coupons that only count when perfect. They are breadcrumbs that show where the path still is. If you miss one, place the next one and keep walking. When the relationship carries heavier history or ongoing harm, repairs are not a cure and should not be used to mask danger. If there is intimidation, chronic contempt, financial control, or any form of abuse, the priority is to reduce harm, strengthen supports, and speak with a professional who understands trauma dynamics. If you find yourself shrinking, walking on eggshells, or reorganizing daily routines to avoid explosions, consider that a signal to seek help. A therapist or counselor can scaffold safer conversations and help you design boundaries that are more than slogans. Friends and family can serve as anchors rather than judges, protecting your well-being while you evaluate next steps. Your body deserves environments where repair attempts are welcome rather than punished. Training these micro skills works better with practice outside of heat. Choose a low-stakes topic and experiment with softer startups, brief resets, and small appreciations. Treat the session like rehearsal rather than trial. A few minutes once a week build muscle memory that shows up later when adrenaline is louder. You can also prime the system by stocking your days with small positives. Unprompted thanks for something specific builds a bank of trust. Shared micro-rituals at transitions, morning coffee, a short walk after dinner, a minute of eye contact before devices, make it easier to believe a repair attempt is sincere when conflict arrives. You are not trying to never fight. You are trying to fight in a way that preserves the bond you will need to solve the next thing together. If you are listening and thinking that this sounds simpler than it feels, you are already doing the brave part. Most couples do not lack love. They lack a shared map for the minutes when adrenaline takes over. Gottman-informed micro-skills are not magic. They are practice. Practice together, they shift climate faster. Practice by one person, they still change the weather in the room. Keep your repairs short and sincere. Keep your voice a little slower than your frustration wants. Give your partner a chance to meet you, and notice when they do, even if it is clumsy. When conflicts feel entrenched, consider guided support. A couples therapist trained in emotion-focused or Gottman-informed work can help you identify your particular loop and rehearse repairs in a safer setting. If trauma sits in the system, individual support alongside couple work can reduce reenactment and shame spirals. If you are not ready for therapy, create a short, structured practice session at home. Pick a small topic, speak in shorter turns, and sprinkle in repairs deliberately to feel how they shift the room. Leave a few calm minutes afterward to let your body register success so it is easier to reach for the skill next time. If this helped you feel a little steadier in tough conversations, consider following for more calm maps. Share it with someone who might need them, or save it for the next time a small moment starts to tilt. The more people learn to repair in the middle of conflict, the kinder our kitchens and living rooms become.